Welcome back to Night Hall Gaming. Today we've jumped into the early release of Starfield. We've got the premium edition, I think it is called. I've got the, actually I do have the box right here. The premium upgrade that you do get, so there's no game in it as such, but you get the slipcover, you do get the steel book case there, and then inside there's a little patch. And then pretty much the only other thing left in it is this card, and on the back of it it does have the code for early access for the game itself. Obviously it doesn't release for normal release, not for another 4 or 5 days at this stage, but you can get early access, so that one will give you access to the Game Pass version of it 5 days early, which is what we've got. So let's jump into it, we'll have a look, and probably about 4 or 5 hours into it at this stage. So we've landed on a planet here. We'll jump into a mission, and this particular one, if we can see, we've got to rescue Barrett. So he is someone you come across fairly early on in the game, so we'll have a look at that. We can go through some of the menu a bit later, but we basically come and landed on this planet, and as we work our way into it, you can see there's a base over there. So there's fairly quickly we're getting shot at. The only problem is we've got this scope gun, but it doesn't have a heck of a lot of bullets left in it, unfortunately. One left, can we take him out with one to go? No. So it does have a quick weapon wheel there. By using the D-pad you can switch across to whichever weapon you want. Down on the D-pad will automatically heal you, although it's not an instant heal, so you have to, it's a sort of gradual heal. As we play through it. So in terms of the gameplay itself, it is very much in the mould of Elder Scrolls games that you will be used to. It doesn't have the VAT system that you would have seen in Fallout with the guns there, which is a bit of a change. I have found overall that the gunplay is not bad, although some of the hit detection on some of it now, there's one of our crewmates, so she's coming out on the mission with us, will help, I would hope. Get out of the way of that turret and come back to looting his body shortly. So you can see on the wall there, Crimson Fleet, so that's one of the factions that you come across fairly early in the game that you're battling against. And you can see on the screen there, as you're sort of rolling around, it does have that typical Bethesda, you can pick up and put a lot of things in your inventory, which is good and bad, because I find myself a lot of the time going through the game that you spend a heck of a lot of time, once you've sort of mopped up all the enemies, you end up spending a heap of your time going back and seeing, not just looting the enemies, but going back and seeing what's available in terms of pickups and stuff, and a lot of it's useless, really, stuff that you don't really need. Oh, slipped down. I thought I was up there. Now, I think the further you get into it as well, you can do some stealth sort of, well, not stealth sections as such like you would see, but there is some stealth opportunities as you're playing through it. And it does have the dreaded over-incumbents in it as well. Ooh. Let's get some health there. There is somewhere else over here as well. I don't know where. You can see on the bottom left hand corner of the map there. We do have someone else around there, I just can't find where they are. And we still have that turret we've got to deal with over on the top of that hill, but yeah, it's interesting as well because you can actually play it. There's the first person mode, which I've been playing it in, but if you hit the two squares, or the select button I guess you'd call it, you can change it to first person view, so you can either do it there close in, a bit further back, or the first person. I just find it a bit easy to play it in first person mode, to be honest. I'm going to try and find this other. I don't know if we picked up any ammo. There we go, we finally picked up some ammo for this one. So there we go, over encumbered again. So I might just jump into our inventory. And the inventory system is actually pretty well set up in terms of working your way through it, manipulating and that sort of stuff. So actually not too bad. You can sort there through damage. So we'll scroll down the bottom. So it's not too bad, not bad value on it there. But the cutter is what you use to mine as well, where you're sort of working around. Not sure I'll use either of those, but so we're down to 159 of 160. I think you'll find. So the resource, I'm not sure, yeah, they add weight as well, so they can add up. I would imagine that once we get back to the ship, we're going to have to drop those off. I hadn't really looked through that too much. I'll drop that one as well, that gets us down another couple. A squeeze around here, see if there's anything worth picking up. As I said, you typical Bethesda game, you end up spending a lot of time just picking up things that might look or seem interesting, but in reality have serve very little purpose in the actual game itself. And you can see that white bar at the bottom of the circle underneath, so you can see how it's going down as we're walking. That means we're over encumbered in there and it's going to impact. So again, we're going to have to jump in and see what we've got there. So it's not a bad gun there. Sedative, I'm sure we can drop that. still have to find something else to drop, which is... I'll just have to be one of our weapons again. We've got this other, so we've got a shotgun. Might just drop that actually. It doesn't give off as much damage as our current one. Give ourselves a bit of health there. And where is this turret? No, we've got old mate down there that we couldn't find before. So I guess the big question is, after 4 or 5 hours, what's the thoughts on the actual game? How does it play? I have to say I've been quite enjoying it. The only thing that sort of I've struggled with a little bit is that basically the planet hopping. So you'll get various missions and side missions, but instead of dropping on a planet and then playing out that particular mission, you end up, each objective is on a different planet, and you have to end up working your way through different, flying from one planet to the next to try and reach each objective that you're playing through. Which you end up, in my opinion, sort of losing a little bit of that exploration and mystique, I guess, of the previous Fallout and Elder Scrolls games that they did do. Now we might just quickly save there. Which is one of the things I really enjoyed about the their previous games, is that you could see something off in the horizon or something on your map, and you'd get fairly easily distracted from what quest you're on to go off and explore and do different things. But it's sort of, while you can explore the planets to some degree, there is things that you can go through and explore and have a look and go through that sort of stuff. It's just not at the same level, I don't think. But having said that, other than that, it's, in my opinion, fairly solid shooting mechanics, fairly solid gameplay.
I wish I could say this is the first time this has happened with Barrett. It isn't.
Well, this is turning into a regular constellation party, isn't it? I should have brought drinks. Matsura the Grim here and I actually have a lot in common.
Both escape artists. Been captured by Sistep myself plenty of times.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Relativity. We're all just creatures of the universe trying to get away from what's happening. You know, it's actually kind of nice. Matsura the Grim here is a great host.
No sense letting people's last moments be unpleasant.
See, that's what I like about you, Matsura. Real Renaissance.
I have enjoyed our time together, Barrett. But I can't just let you go with nothing to show. Is Constellation willing to pay ransom in exchange for this man's freedom?
So here we go. So what do we got? Different options as to how you go through it. So you can try and persuade him. I'm not sure we'd have enough there, but we'll give that a crack. You can pay the 4,000 to have him released. You can have your partner offer the insurance, or you can just attack him. So we might go with the persuade. So what you need to do, you can see the bars down the bottom. You've got to max out, but you've only got 3 turns in each. I'd imagine the higher you get your persuasion level up, the more points would be in the green, would make it a bit easier, but we're sort of really going to have to go to the middle level, given that we only get 3 tries. I would have thought. Successful, there we go. So now we've got 2 more turns. You can see down the bottom we only need 2 more bars, so we might just go for the easy option, and it worked. So I'd imagine that in typical Bethesda style, we could still attack them as we walk out the door, but we've managed to get away without having to do that, so we might just have a bit of squeeze around. See if there's anything else of value that we can look at. Credits, yes. We're over encumbered again. But you can, I'm not sure if we've got no skill points there, but you can go into the skill tree and have a look. So there's obviously different skill levels and skill trees that you can upgrade. So if you go to the physical, you can see that we've done the weightlifter. So if we go into that, we're at rank 2 at the moment. What you've got to be able to do to unlock the next rank, which you can see there is locked, is that there is challenges that you need to sort of progress. So that's to unlock number 3 for that one, the challenge progress. We're almost there. Is a sprint for 2,500 meters, while it's 75% more of your maximum load capacity. So we'll keep working on that. In the interim, we will have a look at what we can get rid of. We do have a couple of these packs that you have on the back, so we might get rid of those. That should, yeah, that's dropped us way down. Which will be handy, so let's make our way back out of here. Back to the research outpost. And the other thing you can do while you're sort of looking around is if you hit the left bumper, it'll bring up this sort of overlay on the HUD. 2 things that are beneficial with it: it shows you where you need to go for your next objective, but also allows you to survey the landscape. And we'll see if we can find down here, you can see they're highlighted. So you've got resources that you can pick up as well, and that's the cutter I was talking about before, that you can utilise that to sort of similar to No Man's Sky if you've played that. What it also does is show up different things within the planet that you're actually on. So that's the research depot we were just at. You can fast travel back to your ship, and then quite often, although it's not the case for this one, it'll show something off in the distance as well, so that you can go off and explore. So we'll jump back into our ship, board our ship, and have a bit of a squeeze through the inside of that.
Glad to see you're back in one piece.
And once you're in the ship, you can do research. Over here you've got cooking. You can see we've already started to get a bit of a crew that we've begun recruiting for. Get out of the way, dude. For our ship. Let's see, oh mate, get out of the way. Oh, now I'm jammed in between the two of them. Well, it is a Bethesda game, I suppose, not without its bugs in some way, shape or form. Probably the way we can get out of this is go to... If we go to the star map, and then once you're in the star map, you can bring up your missions. And the current one is that one. So return to the lodge, which is basically on one of the main areas that you start in. It's without giving away the story, but it's basically a centralised area that you'll continue to go back to. So if you hit Y, it'll show it on the map. It'll zoom out from the planets that you're on. It'll show the particular one and or the particular solar system, and then the planet that you need to go to with the marker. And then you can go there, as in set the landing target as the lodge, and then drop yourself in there and land, and it will just fast travel you back there. And this is a pretty big city area, so you can see the load time there. Generally when you're going through doors and in and out of doors, it doesn't take too long to load, but you will see if we, so that's the lodge that we need to get to, but if we go across here and sort of move around, you can see how large the, your base sort of city is. And you can see we've hit the target there for the weightlifting, so that'll unlock our strength number 3. Let me try and climb the top of this building here and see a bit better. And most of that you can see in front of you. Now I haven't tried going across to the water, but certainly the parts of the city there that you can see, you can travel to. There's quests involved and different, side quests. So I've been invited to join one of the factions. I think that's one of the things that you can get going through it, is that different factions that you can join, depending on what your play style is and how you want to play through it as well. So the sidekick that you've got here is coming running down the hill. She's basically indicated that as long as you help their cause, she doesn't matter to her how you go about it, whether you steal, whether you're smuggling contraband, etc. Now I haven't had any contraband on a ship, but a couple of the planets that I have gone into, they actually do scan your ship before you land to see if you do have any contraband or anything that you shouldn't. So there's the library. I won't go into that because it may give away a bit of the story there, but certainly this is the lodge I was talking about, your home sort of base. And you are actually given a room out the back here, which is yours. And into here, so here's your room here, which nice little tie-in. If anybody's seen the collector's edition, does have the watch in the case there. So there's your Chronomark watch case. I was sitting on your dresser there. You've got your storage there that I've put a few things in. I think there's some storage on the ship as well, so I might have to go and put some of those materials in to storage. So that's a bit of a quick rundown of basically some combat, some different ways that you can actually make your way through the game itself. As you saw there, we did the persuasion instead of going the all-out attack or paying the ransom for one of our colleagues there. Overall impressions, as I said, about 5 to 5.5 hours in. I'm really enjoying it. As I did mention, the only downside is that sort of planet hopping seems to take away a bit of the mystery of working through and discovering things of your own accord. I'd imagine that once you start getting into some of the bigger planets and there's more things for you to find and work through, that may well come back into the story as well. But in terms of the gameplay, I did see, with the exception of maybe IGN that gave it about a 7, I think it's roundly getting 9s and 10s. Not quite sure I'd be in a position to give it a score up at that level at this stage, but certainly very, very good impressions after the first couple of hours in the game itself. And we might wrap it up there for this one on Nighthawk Gaming. If you enjoyed this one, certainly check out the channel for some other gameplay videos, and we do throw up some shorts of humorous little things we come across in gaming, including, I think I threw up there, was the first bug that I came across with some of the ragdoll physics of when your character is killed. And if you have enjoyed it, make sure you consider liking and subscribing to the channel. It certainly does help us out, as we are just in the very infancy of getting this channel up and running. But as I said, that'll do it, and thanks for watching.